Bam! Here we are, episode 0003. You know what they say, third time is a charm. I don't know what that means in this instance, but I think it means it's going to be a good one, Keith.
Hopefully. You know, good things happen in threes, right? Is that a thing?
I think so. That sounds like a thing. That should be a thing. So here we are. It is the Six Pack Challenge podcast. We are on episode 0003, and we have some exciting things that have happened within the last week here.
It's been a pretty good week.
Yeah, now it's kind of like we're actually like legit now because we are recognized in the world of iTunes and Stitcher. So all you need to do is simply search Six Pack Challenge on there and you'll find us. If you just put like Six Pack in, you get some weird like workout things at first, I've noticed. But if you want to look at some dudes' stomachs there for a while, you can do that first and then move on to the Six Pack Challenge.
But really, if that's the route you want to go, just keep it wrestling. Look at Finn Balor, because let's face it, we're doing it anyway.
Well, the problem with that, though, is he's not a six-pack. It's like a fucking 12-pack.
That's true.
You just kind of count. It's like, okay, these muscles don't exist on any other human. But
as they say, double the fin, double the fun.
All right, here we go.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know either. It sounds like something from a weird movie from his past or something. But we are on iTunes. We are on Stitcher. And let's talk about the brand new logo too, because now that's another thing that actually makes us look legit. Instead of Mantar, we have a Six-Pack Challenge logo.
A very sexy Six-Pack Challenge logo done by a friend of the show, Cynical Cypher. And God, it's so good.
Yeah, shout out to Cynical Cypher. He killed it for sure. It is it like
has a bit of attitude to it. Kind of like the attitude that we're going for.
It does. We absolutely love it. So thanks again for that. And we have more to come. We're going to be adding different things into this show. I like to think of this show as like a creeper hangover. You get up and it kind of starts off slow and then you build and it gets a little more and a little more and a little more.
Wouldn't it be like an
the
opposite
reverse,
though?
Yeah,
because as the day goes on,
you
get your pizza in you, your cold day after pizza, maybe you get another beer in you. The day gets better.
Yeah,
so we're
true.
like a reverse creeper hangover.
Because the way I'm saying it, we're just going to get worse and worse and worse.
Which I mean is possible.
Which is very possible. That's not what we're going for, though. So, you can hit that subscribe button. That is very easy. Once you search out the podcast, subscribe, and then whenever we upload a new episode, most likely going to be Wednesday nights. That's when we try to do it. You're going to have it right there, and you'll be able to listen, I don't know, on your way to work on Thursday, or if you're a jobless bum, you can just listen whenever you would like to. So, Six-Pack Challenge, if you've never listened before, we bust open 6 beers. We go through 6 topics of wrestling this week. Usually the 6th one is a shit show.
Bit of a stinker.
Yeah. Teaser for this week. It's terrible again. It's just so bad, but we have to discuss this. So.
Yeah, and you probably know what it is.
Yeah, probably. If you've watched wrestling in the last week, you probably
Or listened to us for the last 3 now, I guess.
True. Let's dive into it with topic number 1 here. All right. Now, we actually took this on the road here this past weekend, visiting a Comic-Con in Niagara. Now, the reason we went to this is there were the likes of The Big Show appearing there. We had Trish Stratus was appearing. We had Lita appearing. We had Greg the Hammer Valentine. We can't forget he was there.
And most importantly, Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake was there.
He was there, and he was looking like any retired...
Those shears have not aged one bit.
No, yeah. He's got a little less to shear on top, and he's got a little more in the keg out front, but he was there, and, well, probably more important than that, woo! The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, was there. Shall we discuss quickly the quick meeting we had with Mr. Flair?
This is really more your story than mine because you were the arbiter of this, so I'm going to let you take this one.
Okay, so I paid way too much money to meet Ric Flair, but I also thought, you know what, he's right there and his health hasn't been the best as of late. I do have a replica championship belt that I like to have people sign, so I thought, I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to go get him to sign it. Didn't get a picture. Let's just say the Nature Boy is still raking in that cash because, wow, those
more
prices.
His wife is raking in the cash. Did you notice that, like, as people were paying, she'd just pocket the money?
Yeah.
She'd put it, like, right in her purse.
One for me, one for you. So we get up there, and, of course, I set my belt out for Mr. Flair to sign, and I hand him a gold marker. Now he goes to sign the belt, and the marker's not showing up. And he tries again, and it doesn't show up. And then he takes the marker, and he dabs it on kind of like the tablecloth.
He's a pro. He's done it before.
Yeah, he's got this, right? Goes back to it, still not showing up. And I'm just kind of like, he's got, fucking 15 Sharpies in front of him, like all these silver ones and stuff. And I'm like, could you use the silver one maybe, please, sir?
You don't tell a 16-time world champion what Sharpie to use, sir.
Yeah, because he completely ignored me and just kept going with this marker that I had given him that barely showed up on the belt. He kind of passes the belt back to me, and I'm looking at it like, do I say anything? Because I just paid a lot of money, but also, like you said, he's a 16-time champion. He is the nature boy. All right, I'm going to hope it dries a little better. So, and then I said to him right before we leave, I said, so you coming out on the town with us tonight? No response. And then his wife kind of hears me and like nudges him, like almost to wake him up. And I said, are you coming out on the town with us tonight? And he's like, before he can even answer, his wife, Wendy, beside him, no, we can't do that anymore. And he's just like...
You know he wanted to say yes so badly.
Oh, and he said right after, I wish, and kind of chuckles. So, he wanted to...
He gets that question a lot, though.
Yeah. So we may have actually caused a problem in the Flair household. I think we may have caused a divorce.
There's a chance.
Number 17 or whatever it is for him. So... aside from that, we did go to a Q&A with both Trish and Lita and The Big Show. Now, The Big Show, we caught some interesting film of one of the questions that was asked.
Big Show got edgy during his Q&A.
I wasn't expecting it, were you?
No, not at all. I figured it'd be pretty tame.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess it kind of started off tame because a lot of times at these Comic-Con Q&As, you see... things outside of wrestling get brought up. Like the first couple questions were, oh, your appearance in this. What did you think of that? Just completely outside of wrestling.
Or you'll get the kid question like, what was your favorite match?
Yeah.
Or something, right? But there actually was a great question from the studio audience there. If you were to face someone from NXT currently, who would it be? And Big Show responded with a harsh, none of them right away to,
Got very real in that room for a minute.
A laugh to the crowd. And then he said this.
Here's the thing. I appreciate NXT, and it's a movement going forward, but they got a long ways to go to make it to the top of our level. I mean, when they get there, they pay some dues, put some miles in, don't have food catered to them, put some miles down the road, real miles, not 50 miles to Tampa or maybe 100 miles to Jacksonville or wherever they're going. You put in a few thousand miles, blood, sweat, bleed for the business. It's easy to say you love this business when you first start and everything's brand new and you're getting wins. You put in some time, put some other people over, and sacrifice a little bit, then tell me how much you love it.
This just kind of shocked both of us, and we're glad we caught that audio of Big Show.
I think I even said to you at the time, like, man, good call on getting that clip, because that's a good one.
Your opinion on this? Do you think he came off as a salty old veteran, or do you think there's some truth to what he's saying?
Honestly, the more I thought about it, the more I agreed with Big Show, because the guys, in comparison to the way that it used to be, they have it pretty easy these days. Like, I'm not saying they don't work hard, because I know they bust their ass at the Performance Center, but not being on the road all this time, kind of having their own bed to go to, I can see where the Big Show's coming from with that, and it probably does create a little bit of resentment in the veterans.
I see what he's saying. However, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, don't knock it because it wasn't available when you were around. It just turned out to be one of those, when I was your age, I used to walk to school,
I guess so.
Uphill both ways in a snowstorm. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? If the bus was available when you were there, Big Show, then you would have taken the bus. So I get, having to do all those different things and work super hard to get there, and then seeing someone else kind of take like an express highway through that. Then you're like, okay.
It does create a bit of an interesting dialogue of, are they actually learning much of the wrestling business from doing this? Like, yes, they are learning how to work a match and all that stuff, but like being on the road and stuff, you've noticed, whether it be a creative problem or whatever it might be, when people from NXT go up to WWE, there's definitely that period of adjustment. And the excuse you hear all the time with that is, oh, well, they're not used to the WWE style. So could Big Show be onto something with that in regards to that? Because it starts to make a lot of sense if you really think about it from that way.
There are several examples of people who have just kind of plateaued once they got there and kind of dropped off. Maybe those are those people that can't make those adjustments. They can't make the, getting up early, lack of sleep, driving from town to town, doing all these things that we always hear them doing. I mean, just think about when you go on vacation yourself. Traveling is exhausting. It really is.
It's terrible.
Whether you're flying or going on a road trip, and they're doing this, a couple of times a week.
It's probably a huge shock. Probably the biggest news of this week didn't happen in a ring of any sorts. It happened in a different battleground, in the courtroom.
Yeah, I feel before we start talking about this, we should just be using the word allegedly just more than even humanly possible.
Yeah, so everything that we say for this topic, just assume, even if we don't say it, we've said the word allegedly in front of every statement. But the trial of CM Punk finally happened when WWE doctor, I believe it's Dr. Amon, I've never actually heard his name said out loud, so I'm not...
Dr. A.
Dr. A, all
That's
right.
who we call him.
Sued CM Punk for defamation of character over the whole Colt Cabana Art of Wrestling podcast, saying that it was had hurt his career. He got threats online, all of that fun jazz. Overall, man, that case was a roller coaster. There was a couple people online that were kind of going through notes every day, and
yeah,
it kind of shows how ridiculous wrestling is.
And you know what this also shows too is how long the legal system takes for anything.
Oh,
because
God, forever.
think about when you listen to this podcast. I don't have a number on it, a couple of years ago probably or something, and now all of a sudden, finally everything gets put together and it comes back here. But you're right, it does show how ridiculous wrestling is, because if you read through the things that are going on in the courtroom,
they're explaining a suplex and like how wrestling isn't real. When he's throwing him over the top rope, he's actually helping him throw over the top rope.
Yeah, and these are all things as wrestling fans, we know and we've heard about over and over. So it seems even more ridiculous to us, I think. And there was something with Punk's trunks or something.
Yeah,
that
he
brought
had
up.
to prove that it was his Speedo that he wore under his trunks. It's yep, that was my Speedo. Only had one of them in when I was in the WWE. But above all that, I think there is one fact that stands as the most amazing revelation in this entire trial.
Yes, because we now have this under oath.
Yes, under oath, we know what CM stands for.
Finally.
Because
Punk has been messing with people for years, giving different answers all the time.
Cookie Monster.
It stands for C. Montgomery Burns from The Simpsons. It stands for Charles Manson. Crooked Moonsault is another one that he said. But now we know. Now this story has come up before. I've heard this explanation before, but now we know this is actually what CM stands for: Chick Magnet.
Let the record show that he is Chick Magnet Punk.
Chick Magnet Punk. You know what? I always thought it was Chicago made, because he has mentioned that before too, and I'm like, that guy's so Chicago, just the pride of his city. I figured Chicago made sense.
It was on CM Punk's Chick Magnet Punk's DVD from a few years ago when he had that Best in the World, where he talked about his first tag team was with Chick Magnet Punk and Chick Magnet Venom. Mm-hmm. So I figured that just sealed the case, but no, we had to bring this up in court. Now we have the definitive answer.
And apparently about the the rumors of him in the backstage with certain WWE divas, plural. I think it rings true, I guess, apparently.
It's true.
Chick Magnet.
He is a magnet.
Punk. There we go. It is settled. You will now hear those chants in arenas around the world instead of the annoying CM Punk ones that seem to come up from time to time.
And at least this way it's a little more clunky. So maybe it'll...
Magnet Punk. Chick Magnet. No, it doesn't work.
Okay, I'm done.
It doesn't work. Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. This is a new tag team that we've seen put together over the past 3 weeks or so upon the return of Mr. Drew McIntyre coming back looking like an absolute beast. Can you even believe that this is the same person at some time? When you look at his 3-man band days and the Chosen One days, and then you look at this guy, doesn't even look like the same human.
Jinder Mahal was WWE champion. Can I believe Rulebook has been thrown right out the window when it comes to the former members of 3MB?
What do you think, first of all, on the pairing with Ziggler?
At first, when I saw it after the draft, it was pretty good. It's okay, Ziggler can't go down, so why not at least... It's kind of like the Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt situation, where you can't go down, so maybe somebody else will help bring you up. And you can already tell that this is kind of a launching pad for Drew McIntyre, and I think that's exactly what this should be. Those two could probably have a great match with each other, and if this pairing just leads to that and then greater things for Drew, I'm all for it.
So you're thinking like, obviously they break up at some point and then
they even started teasing that a little bit, even though there was like 4 teams that teased that in the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
But
so, and then get into this feud and have a match with Ziggler, who is the ultimate, gatekeeper, kind of just, hey, go have a good match with this guy, and then we'll forget about him. So you think this
keeping another gate.
At first I thought, no, don't do this, because I don't know why. I choose to believe that they will do something with Ziggler at some point. I still have this little glimmer of hope in my mind.
Let it die.
I can't. I just can't
Just let it die.
I can't let it fade out, because you know what I need? I need to know what Ziggler did to deserve this. I mean, I've always said they're wasting this generation's Shawn Michaels. I don't know if he can even turn it around at this point. He's been beaten down so badly. But what did he do outside of, dating Nikki Bella? Is that enough to, piss off John Cena? Which
Maybe.
Pisses off the whole machine. I guess
mean,
that's
look
enough.
at the career of Alex Riley. What happens when you piss off John Cena?
Yeah.
So it's possible.
That is true. So Dolph Ziggler going nowhere. You put that aside, I thought, okay, maybe they can be a decent tag team or something, because as we know, the Raw tag teams are non-existent, pretty much. And then once they start building this, they get in this match on Raw, and Ziggler gets thrown out by, was it Tyler Breeze?
Yes.
Who threw out Dolph Ziggler? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's a bit much. Like, if you're, at least have somebody like the Revival do it. Somebody that has like maybe a little bit of credibility. No offense to Breezango, you don't have much credibility.
Or double teamed, or I just needed something to show that, no, you know what, let's just fuck with Ziggler again. Toss him out. He means nothing. By association, Drew McIntyre gets hurt in that too. And then, so it's like, where are we going with this? Who is this helping?
It does do a really good job of Ziggler being the weak link of the team, which will probably lead to that fracture, that split up.
Mm-hmm. But I feel they need to build this into something before they do that, though. I mean, they had like 2 matches with nobodies?
Yeah, it is a bit soon.
So I feel why not establish them, even give them like a title run or something, and then break this up. And then it's a little more of a story, which I just said wasted this generation Shawn Michaels. In that pairing, I could see him being the Marty Jannetty. So
he's like a Rocker's Paradox. Dolph Ziggler.
Some kind of weird combination. He's going to fall through a window at some point, and that's how he's going to go out. He'll never come back.
And while we're talking about weird combinations, Baron Corbin, new role on Raw.
This was interesting.
So what is this official title again? It's like Constable. That's it. Constable Corbin.
Constable Corbin. It sounds like a bad comic book, but I'm willing. You know what? I'm willing to go through this, because Corbin had nothing going on.
It's true. And you can only fight No Way Jose so many times.
Right? His character, like, he was losing his character like faster than he was losing his hair. Like, it was just like, he is just...
And that is a lightning pace.
Exactly. His head just gets bigger and bigger every week. But no, he was going nowhere, and he was quickly becoming, for me, that guy that you don't even see him as a character anymore. You're just like, oh, here's that guy they're trying to do something with, but it's not working ever. And I feel he's a natural heel. Like, he seems like an asshole that just can easily be an asshole without trying. So how do you not capitalize on that? He got a little momentum. He was a U.S. champion. He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which, as we've seen, means nothing. Mojo Rally. But he's just not really been doing anything, so I'm willing to see where this goes.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, the best part of Corbin is easily how much of a dick he is. Mm-hmm. So have him be a dick to Kurt Angle on a weekly basis, but kind of like the Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre thing, what does this do for Corbin in the long run? Like, okay, you're eventually going to lead to maybe getting Kurt Angle fired. What now? Then you're still going to go back to being the mid-Carter guy that you always were. Like, he's been in this kind of rut ever since he lost that Money in the Bank cash-in.
Yeah.
And
one of the few that, never actually cashed in. And, well, Damian Sandow found out the hard way, too, that nothing really happens after that.
Boy, did he ever.
I'm willing to see where it goes. Do you think if they get him into some type of top-end feud, then that's going to help him? Or do you think that'll just kind of feed the storyline of Stephanie's guy, and then it'll go nowhere after that?
Ding, 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 ding,
yeah,
ding.
Yeah.
Nail right on the head there.
I
like,
think so.
mid-card at best. Like, I don't see this propelling Baron Corbin to the top again.
So you're seeing more of probably like a Seth Rollins feud or something.
Or something along those lines, or maybe somebody for Jason Jordan to feud with when he comes back.
I forgot about that guy. How bad is that? Is he on his way back soon? He has to be
He
at
has
some
to
point.
be. He was injured. When did he get hurt?
Seems
He
like
was.
forever
I think his
ago.
last match was the Royal Rumble.
This is a big match coming up here this weekend outside of the WWE. A couple of big matches.
Normally WWE podcast, but something so big is happening that we can't not talk about.
Yeah,
it.
and we have a WWE legend that is taking part again. And if you're...
it counts.
Yeah,
It counts.
exactly. There's our tie-in. But, I mean, if you follow the career of Mr. Y2J Chris Jericho at all, you know what is going on over in Japan right now. And, man, I have loved these promos that he has been cutting for his big matchup.
God, everything that Chris Jericho has done in New Japan has been great.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that one? I think it was from this week.
In his hotel room?
In his hotel room when he drinks the vodka in the middle of the promo, calls himself Chris Swearico.
Chris Swearico. That was the best. We need a Swearico t-shirt out there. I imagine there's one coming soon.
Has to be.
Yeah, the way Chris Jericho markets himself. My other favorite part of that promo is, he was kind of mentioning throughout the promo that, you know what, I'm not just going to be Chris Swearico. I'm not going to swear through this whole thing. At the end, he pauses and then goes, fuck face. It's just Chris Jericho has a way of delivering it that is just hilarious.
Maximum impact. And then, like, if you see the translation on the screen, it was like FUXXXXX face. He is Fox face.
Oh, and there was a couple other where he was just throwing shit backstage. And I love when a low-life security guard goes to put his hands on Jericho or something. Get your fucking hands off me.
Throwing tables, throwing chairs.
Oh, he is having just a blast. You can tell he is loving his time there because he can do whatever he wants.
Nobody's going to tell him no.
Exactly.
Either nobody's going to tell him no, nobody understands enough to tell him no.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you mentioned, this weekend, the Dominion pay-per-view for New Japan Pro Wrestling's happening, and Jericho's fighting for the IWGP Intercontinental title, which is basically the equivalent of the WWE Intercontinental title, just maybe means a little more. Going up against Naito, which is...
Naito-san.
Naito-san. I don't know. Do you watch a lot of New Japan?
I don't get into it a lot. I'm more of, big events like this. I try and watch them. I mean, I watched the Alpha Omega match, of course, when Jericho took part there. And I've seen, I try to watch Wrestle Kingdom and that, but I don't dive too much into it.
And no, this is definitely one to check out if you like Mark and dabble in New Japan. I'm pretty deep in it at this point. I got in after the first Omega Okada match and basically fell in love with New Japan. It's my...
Which that match is happening this weekend as well, right?
Oh, is it ever?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this. It is a 2 out of 3 fall, no time limit match between Kenny Omega and Okada.
They're going to go like 2 hours. You know that, right?
They have to. Yeah. Whatever the record is for the longest wrestling match ever, consider it broken after this weekend. Because I think, their last match at Dominion, which last year went to a 60-minute time limit. And between their other 2 matches, I think they've wrestled each other for about 2.5, 3 hours already in the last year. So... now they're going to do it in one night. That's
a marathon. You need to have the snacks ready, a few Red Bulls, make sure you stay up and watch that. Well, so this is going to be airing, what's the time difference again? Is this going to be like a 4 a.m. type of thing?
I think so. That I'm not 100% sure of because my thing with New Japan is I'll just wake up and it's there.
Mm-hmm. And avoid the spoilers.
You
go
course.
directly to it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
all right,
that'll be waiting for you on Saturday. Enjoy probably the best match you will ever see. And God, I hope Kenny Omega wins the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I want nothing more.
Enjoy 19 hours of wrestling. Enjoy Chris Jericho calling people fuck faces. It is going to be one hell of a weekend.
Basically taking the hardest turn that we could possibly take from one of the best things that have happened in a long time. Let's talk about one of the worst.
The first week we talked about this. And then the second week, we thought, you know what? We can't shit all over the same thing in week 2, even though we could have.
But we chose to take the high road.
This was so bad.
We couldn't not.
For week 3, we have to bring it back. This Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley feud, if you want to call it this mess.
Disaster.
Is just getting worse, and I don't know how that's even possible.
They have just had week after week of shit promo that I'm personally at the point where I just want Money in the Bank to happen to just get it over with.
I literally said this out loud as I was watching it. I was literally in the middle of Sami Zayn, yelling back at Lashley from the crowd. I was like, just finish this. Get it over with. I don't care. No one cares. Look around. The crowd doesn't care. There is no response. Bobby Lashley is just looking stiff and awkward in there. And Sami Zayn is doing his best to joke around and be annoying, but it's past the point of...
It's annoying, but it's not good annoying.
Yeah, and it just drags on and on and on and on. And you're right. I just want it to be over. I want this feud just to wash our hands clean of this and see if they can salvage Bobby Lashley now.
I don't know. At least Sami can go back to Kevin.
Yeah.
And there's that.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if there's any hope for Bobby Lashley after this.
What do you do with Bobby Lashley now? After this, say this just ends and they realize it, hopefully too, and don't try and drag this feud on at Money in the Bank. It just ends right there. What's the next step for Bobby Lashley?
Send him to SmackDown and pretend none of this ever happened.
Just wipe the slate clean and go for it. I don't know, because less is more maybe. Don't have him on the mic. You've just proved that you're no good on the mic. Again, for some reason, because you were in TNA, but now it's just awkward. I think he can feel the crowd not responding either, and that just probably...
I just honestly think the whole sisters thing poisoned the well so bad that you can't come back from it, because you've always got that. Especially, they're going back to it in this feud over and over again. Like, even the segment this week, they brought up the sisters again. Just fucking leave it alone.
No kidding. Now, how sad is that, too? That if you look at Bobby Lashley, line up 5 people from the WWE, pick any 5. You put Bobby Lashley there, you look at the dude, you're like, this guy's a beast. This guy could be could run through anybody. He could be the world champion if they market him right and push him right and everything, but...
And they were at first. That whole stuff with Braun Strowman.
Yes.
It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. And then they just took a significant dive, a nosedive right into this feud.
Right into this shit pit. I don't know. I may have to just change the channel next time it comes on. Although I do want to shit all over it again next week, so I'm going to have to watch and see where this goes.
What is the world going to be like when we just can't go to this every
I know,
week?
right? Yeah, maybe everything will be good after this. That's not true, because I think we could have picked a couple other things from this
absolutely.
week. But,
I guess one positive from it is that, boy, did they set a bar for the worst feud of the year. Every wrestler in the WWE has to be thanking them, because, I can't do anything worse than this year.
And what are the odds that we came up with this concept for this podcast where we go through 5 topics and, number 6 is just something absolutely terrible.
And it just fell in our lap.
Just happened to coincide with this whole feud, which was like, oh, here you go. This is something you can shit on.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Get your feet in this podcast. Here's a gift from the WWE.
Oh. All right, let's move on to some questions. You give the Q's, we give the A's, or we try to,
do.
anyways.
Let's do it. The first Q comes from Cynical Cypher, the person that did our logo. Once again, thank you, sir. It looks amazing. Can't give you enough plugs here.
No.
But he asks, what moment was it that solidified your status as wrestling fans? Was there a moment that made you not want to be a fan? Well, I saw one this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we just covered that, when I would not want to be a fan. I don't have that moment, how some people say, oh, as soon as I saw, Hogan slam Andre or something, I was a wrestling fan for life. Mine was more, you get into the video games and the idea of it, and then you're playing with the toys, and then you're watching them on TV and stuff, and all of a sudden, here you are, you're built right into it.
Absolutely. I'm pretty much in the same place where I think everybody that grew up in the Attitude Era really has that exact same answer, because yes, Austin and McMahon were great. Yes, the NWO was great. But everything around it just captivated you. So you watched for Austin and McMahon, but the other hour and 40 minutes of the show was so good. It was so cool. As a kid, some of these characters are trash looking back now, but if you go back and look at the Ministry of Darkness as a kid, that was really cool.
It was cool, yeah.
Midian with that damn hand was awesome back then.
So there's lots of moments. I think they all kind of jumble together after a while. What was your first pay-per-view you ordered, though? Because I feel like that's a moment that should be marked in time.
I honestly don't know. The first
this
one...
is a research project for you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go back and figure out which one.
Yeah.
I believe I ordered Bash at the Beach 1998, on my own. I think that was my very first thing in WCW.
I think it was D-Generation X That would have been 1997 because it happened on the same day as my birthday.
Yeah.
So as a birthday present, can you get me this pay-per-view?
This one coming from Cody Collier 24 on Twitter. If Shinsuke does not win the title at Money in the Bank, who would you like to see beat AJ for it, and why? We should mention too, thanks for using the hashtag AskSPC. If you ever have a question, if you're ever just, chilling, watching Raw or SmackDown or something, question pops in your head or something you want us to cover, use that hashtag and we'll get to it for sure.
Agreed. So if Shinsuke doesn't win at Money in the Bank, who should beat AJ? I honestly don't have another answer besides Shinsuke. Like, if it doesn't happen at Money in the Bank, I think it will. Shinsuke should be the next person that is WWE champion. Mostly for Shinsuke in this case, because if he comes out of this feud without a title, just hang him out.
Well, that's a good point. I have a very unpopular answer, I find.
All right.
The Miz.
I don't think that's as unpopular as you think.
I think The Miz is ready for it now, because this is funny. Obviously, he's already been a WWE champion. He's already headlined WrestleMania, as hard as that is to believe. But when he completely was not ready for it, didn't deserve anything, he was there for a few years. He had it. And I love the fact that he has been able to stick it out and build this character for over a decade now, that the fans actually respect him, and he is such a great heel, and one of those heels that I think stays true to being a heel. I would love to see him take that next step. Yes, he's obviously kind of carved out this niche of being one of the greatest intercontinental champions, as he calls himself, and and has won it, almost as many times as Chris Jericho here, which I think that feud is building too. I mean, I think they're going to have a match
one day.
Yeah, but if he can step it up, I want to see him challenge, and I think it'd be something different. So I would love to see, and I think him and AJ would have some great feuds. I mean, they've already had a few feuds in the past and promos cut on each other, which I enjoyed. So I'd like to see Miz.
Two things to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
no.
Yeah, exactly. You are wrong, sir.
Yeah.
Miz got moved to SmackDown because he will be WWE champion on that show. I will make that prediction right now. I don't think there's any question of it. They're going to, somewhere down the line, I think eventually he's going to win it from Daniel Bryan personally, because that would be great, and have them feud.
That'd be awesome if they'd take that feud right up to the height of the title. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
And while he will win it, he won't be the one to take it off of AJ. If he does, there will be a title change that happens between then and then AJ gets it back. Like maybe Shinsuke's a transitional champion.
Yeah. What about a name that we didn't mention, Daniel Bryan? Do we not see that happening? Daniel Bryan, AJ?
Eventually. I mean, it all depends, right? Because, I mean, the rumor and innuendo is that Daniel Bryan hasn't signed a new contract yet. So if he doesn't, then we're not. But if he ends up signing and then being in the WWE for a while, 100%.
You never know.
That's the great thing about SmackDown right now, that there's so many people that could be the champion. I want to see them all. Rusev, Samoa Joe. I want AJ to be champion forever. Miz, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke.
Any one of them. Another great question here from Twitter.
Indeed. This one's
I love this one.
A showstopper coming in from Ashley Hudson, who asks just simply, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
I've been doing some research. The last reported area I have seen Carmen Sandiego appear was in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So that's the last I've heard. Other than that, I don't know. Seems to be on the move quite a bit for the past how many years? So.
Yeah, they've been trying to track her through a game show.
Yeah.
So if I were to throw a dart at the map, I'm going to say she's in Mobile, Alabama.
Mm-hmm. We're just picking places that wrestlers are from, aren't we?
Absolutely. Obscure places that wrestlers are from.
So let me guess. Hardcore Holly.
Yep. Maybe she's in Battle Creek, Michigan.
RVD? Can you guess mine? Allentown, Pennsylvania?
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
I think I'll have to...
I don't know it off the top of my head.
Let me fact check here quickly, first of all, because I believe...
Chris Sabin from Hell, Michigan. That could have been another one.
Let me just see here. You just keep naming random towns.
There's
and
Death
wrestlers.
Valley, of course. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yep. Billed from, just as I thought, Mr. Billy Kidman.
Oh.
From Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Of course.
There we go. We don't know where the hell Carmen Sandiego is.
Who knows?
But
Somewhere
it
in
got
the 90s is the answer. Who's Carmen Sandiego? Damn it.
Yeah, it got us to name random towns from around the USA that wrestlers have been from, though. That's for sure. All right, shall we do the 1, 2, 3 game?
All right. You got one this week?
I got one. I just, the odds of this matching up here is.
I feel like eventually we're going to have to rein this in a bit and pick themes.
You think so?
Yeah, like Intercontinental Champions or time periods.
I like it like this because we have, 9,999 chances to do so, right? Because obviously we're
down to 97 now.
We're going to have that many shows. So if you haven't heard, this is what we do. We count to 3, and Keith and I both yell a random wrestler's name, any wrestler from the past. We are hoping that somehow, some way, they will line up one day, and we will actually say the same wrestler, and we'll be on the same wavelength. I don't think today is going to happen, but you never know. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Scotty
Lodi!
Goldman.
Scotty Goldman.
Kept it topical,
I see.
See what I did there?
You kept it topical with Cole Cabana, and I went with Lodi. I don't know if you remember Lodi, the sign guy from WCW.
Nope.
You're like,
not a chance.
So he was this blonde dude. I think he was in Raven's flock at one point, and he used to just carry signs to the ring, I always thought was a cool gimmick.
Oh yeah,
Like he would bring signs to the ring, right? Like he's just like a fan, and he would write different things on it everywhere.
Was he based off of Sign Guy?
He may have been.
Huh.
That would make sense. I don't know why they don't bring that back. They need to, recycle the gimmick every once in a while.
Exactly.
So, that is episode 0003. You can check us out on iTunes and on Stitcher, as we have mentioned. All you have to do is search Six Pack Challenge. We promise more is coming. We're working on some things, going to beef this up a bit here. And at Six Pack Cast is where you can find us on Twitter there. What else do we got going on? We got a YouTube channel.
We got a YouTube. You can find us at Six Pack Challenge on YouTube.
And as always, if you have a question too, ask SPC on Twitter. You can ask right there. And it doesn't always have to be a question either, right? Like, hey, how about you guys talk about this or something?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to suggest topics, we can. If it's a week where there's not a lot going on, it might end up in our top 6. We might just bring it up at the end of the show. Anything is possible. But we want your feedback. We want to hear from you guys, get you involved in the show. Mm-hmm. So please tweet us at #AskSPC.
And if you're ever, just watching SmackDown Live or Raw too, once in a while, Keith and I jump on there and live tweet too if we see something going on. Depending on when we're catching the show, we all kind of catch it at different times. So
exactly.
You can follow along there.
I will say, I am impressed with your GIF game on Twitter.
You like that? I love it.
It's good.
Check us out there. Of course, subscribe and tell a friend, and we'll be back next week, I guess.
I don't see why not.
Episode 004 coming at you.
Woo!
Fuckface. Fuckface.